Well, good morning everyone. It is day 6 of our trip, and as you can see, much less windy today. Still absolutely gorgeous, but we are packing up the car and heading back to Acadia National Park for another day of exploring and doing some hikes and seeing another lighthouse and some more fun in Bar Harbor. So let's get to it. So it is a little cooler today, a little more chilly, but definitely less windy. So off we go. So we're back in Acadia, and I just have to talk about this because I haven't talked about it yet, but the car in front of us has a Florida plate. We've seen so many Florida plates. There's another one right there. And at first I was like, why is everyone from Florida in Maine right now? But I think we figured it out that Florida is one of the cheapest states in order to get rental cars. So the rental car companies are registering the rental cars in Florida. I think by far, aside from Maine plates, we've seen Florida plates the most. And there's a lot of them. And so I kept thinking that just the entire state of Florida was here this week, but no, just a bunch of rental cars. Ironically, our rental car has a North Carolina plate. So, too funny. We're starting this morning at the Wild Gardens. It is much busier this morning in the park. You definitely feel a higher amount of cars. I don't know if that's because we're just getting closer to Memorial Day weekend, which is next weekend, or just because we're here in the morning versus the afternoon, but definitely quite a few more people out and about. So the founding father of Acadia built a little spring canopy, they're calling it, over there. I feel like I'm going to like a little fairy castle, fairy village. Look at that. I like the pine cone on top. Cute. I have to tell you, spring doesn't look all that appealing right now. Ooh. Interesting. Stone Age antiquities. That is quite the term. But it was founded in 1926. It's past mid-May, so we'll see if it's open. Well, the museum is definitely closed, so no Stone Age antiquities for me. Let's see what the sign says. A lot of things are opening tomorrow, so we might just be a little bit... Oh, it even says it on the top. Stone Age antiquities. So it looks like it never even opened for 2021 and they haven't changed it for 2022, so yeah. Stone Age antiquities will have to wait for a future trip. It's definitely a bigger building than I thought it was. Hiding back there.
Lots of antiquities.
Lots of antiquities. We have made it to the Wild Gardens. Lots of ferns.
Picnic, they really
You know,
sit down in the middle of the path.
Yeah, just.
It's not exactly roomy enough for that.
No, it's not. I don't know if there are benches though, so I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
It is a little buggy, as a lot of Maine has been. But do a quick stroll through. Blueberries. Juniper. Yeah, we're here for multiple days. You could really take your time and learn about all the plants of Maine. So we've got a lot of signs in here telling you what everything is. There's a lot to look through. Florida. 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 So I feel like we had this park to ourselves yesterday. We were able to park in the lot at Sand Beach. And today the lots are packed. This lot is packed. We're parked all the way up the road. I mean, there's just cars everywhere today. So I don't know. We were here at like 3 p.m. yesterday, 3 and 4 p.m. I guess it's calmer time Also getting closer to Memorial Day, so who knows, but packed right now. I should also say this is probably nothing compared to it actually being packed in like June and July. Just compared to yesterday when we were here practically by ourselves. Seems like a lot of people to us. We wanted to come back because it's low tide right now, so I want to see how different the beach looks at low tide versus last night, which was basically high tide. Okay, wow, look how much more beach there is today. So many more rocks. Wow. So it is not even low tide yet. It's gonna get even lower than this. Last night we were about an hour from high tide. Now we're about an hour from low tide. So quite a bit of difference at the sand beach. This is Thunderhole at almost low tide. You remember this was all covered in water yesterday. We were right down there and this is all water. It's definitely a lot lower. I'm kind of worried because this ground is wet. I feel like I'm in the splash zone. If my time at theme parks taught me anything. Ooh, definitely getting more of a, not a gurgle today. Nice. Very cool. Very different than yesterday, that's for sure. Cool to see it both ways, low tide and almost high tide. We made a stop at a scenic overlook we did not stop at yesterday because most of this was covered with water yesterday. With it being nearly high tide, you can see where all the kelp is. That's where the water was yesterday, but now a lot more shore to see. Okay, we are going down to Little Hunter Beach. Bonus, we get a little waterfall. So we were actually looking for this yesterday and we drove right by it. It's not as popular of a stop and we didn't see any other cars and we just drove right by it. But today we found it. Beautiful. I love that. How cool that it just goes right under the rocks right here. And then pops up again over there. That sound is amazing. So that sound is peaceful, and then you get the other sound of walking across all these stones. Oh my gosh. What a crazy beach. Think like glaciers created the rocks that are helping tumble all of these into these nice circular, technically large pebbles, I guess. Pretty amazing. I'm gonna go where Mike went. That looks like a cool little spot. Got a boat cruising by now. Well, I'm very glad we made this stop today. Weren't sure if we were gonna be able to find it because yesterday was a little bit of a struggle, but we found it today and I'm very glad we did because this is definitely one of my favorite spots that we've stopped. Not too busy, just a couple other groups of people here. The sound of the waves, the sound of the little stream coming down, the rocks, just a really interesting spot that I've never gotten to experience before. I've just never been to a beach full of rocks, aside from the other one in Kennebunkport. So it's a new experience for me, and I love it. So I think we're gonna move on now and go do our first like real hike, and only real hike of this trip, which is going to be to the bubbles. So we're on the hike to Bubble Rock. It's about half a mile. We're taking a little breather because we just came up these steps, and those are pretty steep. But up we go. All right, we made it to the top of the South Bubble. Bubble Rock is down there. We haven't gone to see it yet. We're just taking a nice little breather and enjoying our accomplishment. Took us about 20 minutes. It's half a mile. You know, you're going pretty much straight up the whole time. Definitely doable. I'm not like a pro hiker or anything. I had my watch going, so my heart rate was definitely up. I was definitely out of breath, but it was totally doable. So as long as you can do a bunch of stairs, you can do this trail. So we're at the top. We're gonna enjoy Bubble Rock. There's some other people enjoying it right now, so we'll let them have a moment, but I'm gonna sit down here with the hubby and admire the view. Got more water over there. Very cool. So there we have it. Bubble Rock. Okay, I actually made it down. I made it down to it. And this is the view from down here. Look at that. Beautiful. There it is. Bubble Rock, we did it. We've made it to what I believe is going to be our final Acadia National Park stop, which is the Bass Harbor Headlight. One last lighthouse for this trip. So Mike's reading about it. It's our little path. I see it down there. It was definitely worth the drive for this view. Wow. The other side of the lighthouse, very popular. Lots of people here precariously trying to hike around these rocks. Some more successful than others. But there it is from the other direction. Not exactly easy to get to a good viewpoint, but this is the easiest spot to get to. The rest at your own risk. Just down the road from the lighthouse is the seawall. It's a picnic area and a seawall, aptly named. A cool last view before leaving Bass Harbor. Okay, we had to do a quick pull over in Bass Harbor to see this view. Look at it. Tide's still coming in, but yet another beautiful harbor in Maine. So that's where we had dinner the other night. Wanted to come check out the park when it wasn't dark. Ah, the harbor is gorgeous. Agamont Park. Look at this. So this is the end of the block and the park. The very end. Beautiful. So we're at the Thirsty Whale for dinner. I forgot to film the menu, but I am getting the lobster roll. It was the last hurrah lobster roll with the clam chowder. And Mike got the fisherman's platter, which has a bunch of fried seafood and french fries. Ending the trip with fried seafood and lobster rolls as it should be. There we go. The last hurrah, the lobster roll, the chowder, and all the fried seafood. Looks wonderful. Ending our time in Bar Harbor with some ice cream. And And yes, they do have lobster ice cream. I'm not getting it, but they have it. All the candies, the taffies. Oh my. There is the lobster. I went for the mud pie, which is cappuccino plus Oreos. Should be delicious. And Mike got the husky lover. Fittingly. Well, we parked right behind this park. So, enjoying ice cream with the view, with Balance Rock right there. Found something we didn't know existed. Fantastic way to spend our last evening. Look at the mama duck with all the babies. So we're back at the cottage. Dinner was awesome. Definitely recommend the Thirsty Whale. Really enjoyed that. We had delicious ice cream. And now we're back at the cottage for sunset. And it's kind of funny because I'm hiding in this corner because the sun's beaming right into the cottage. But it's funny because the park we were in, I'm like, man, it's getting dark already. We need to get back. That's because we were facing away from the sunset, so the sun was already like behind the very small, but they're still mountains. So it was getting dark in Bass Harbor, but here, still very bright. You can probably see as I'm about to get like, so we have a beautiful view of the sunset, plus it's high tide again. So see how much the water's filled in from this morning. So we're gonna sit here and enjoy the sunset. I might attempt to walk down a little bit just to film when the sun gets a little lower, but the bugs here have been kind of crazy. They're mosquitoes and then also these like kind of gnat things, which I don't know. I assume this time of year they're just a lot worse because it's spring here. Oh, look at that. Mike's coming to join me. Got just a little bit more time before it goes behind the little mountain. Bye! He brought his shoes out and then disappeared. Just got a little more time before it's going to drop behind that hill over there. But I think with all these clouds it's going to get really pretty. At least if it's anything like Florida. Fingers crossed.
Bye.
There he is.
Bye.
Bye. He's gone again. Very short-lived. Goodbye, sun. And the sun is gone. So pretty. I'm glad we made it back for a sunset. The house next to us is owned by the same people that own our cottage, and there's other people renting it, and they just took the kayaks out for the first time. But it looks really cool with the silhouette. Makes for a cool silhouette. Get all the pictures. So this house is owned by the same people who own our cottage. So technically you can rent the two of them together if you have a bunch of people. But we just have some neighbors and they're out taking the kayaks. So we also would have had access to this kayaks if we wanted to. But a little cold for us. Plus we just haven't been here long enough. We've been out and about. But look at that sunset. They went that way. That flock of birds came flying right above us, and it sounded like this giant gust of wind was coming, and my brain was so confused as to what was happening. And then they just flew over and went that way, and it was so cool. It was wild. It was just the craziest noise. Like, I thought the happening was happening. You know, like the wind through the trees. We're done for. And it was just a bunch of birds. I think it's gonna sit like this for a while because,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even fully dark after 9 p.m. when we got back last night, so I think it's gonna stay pretty for a long time. Tomorrow we head back to Bangor and fly home. So not sure I'm going to vlog anything tomorrow. Signing off for this portion of the sunset. And I'll meet you guys back inside. 8:45 p.m. Still going. Still glowing. Looking beautiful. I decided rather than sign off the vlog last night, I might as well include our last morning here. So this is our last gorgeous view from our little Trenton cottage. Tide is still up. It's on its way out, but it's still up right now. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day in Maine. It's going to be very hard to say goodbye. I can definitely see why people love Maine. It's been absolutely gorgeous. We've loved our time. Ready to go home and see the pups, but very sad to leave this beautiful state. And this beautiful weather. I mean, it's been in the 50s or low 60s all week, which is heaven to me. So it's gonna be hard to go back to 92 degrees Florida. Well, goodbye, little cottage. You were a nice little home the past few days. And now we go get lunch, brunch, and head to the airport. Well, goodbye, little cottage. I'm gonna walk down to the water real quick, but we're just packing up the car. Goodbye. For now, at least. Goodbye, cottage. Off we go to get some lunch. All right, well, we're in Ellsworth to grab some food. And here we are, Riverside Cafe. I went with the BLT on sourdough, house-made sourdough, and Mike got this omelet. I believe it's the corned beef hash omelet. Yes. Wow. Oh, that is a very ornate city hall, Ellsworth. Look at that. Lunch was delicious. Highly recommend Riverside Cafe. Now it's back to our car and off to Bangor. Well, guys, we are back home. I did not get to film our last bit of our flight because United switched our plane, and then once it did that, it messed up our seats. So I was in a middle seat and Mike had the aisle seat, so I could not film out the window because I didn't have the window seat this time. So unfortunately, did not get to film flying back into Tampa, but we made it back home. It was an amazing trip. We absolutely loved it. Highly recommend a trip to Maine. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down below. I will gladly answer, and I'm gonna try to do my best throughout this entire series of leaving links of where we stayed and where we ate and all that good stuff. So with that ends this adventure, but there's many more to come. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to click down below to join for our next travel adventure, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.